Okay, man. So as I'm doing this, the Thunder are up, I think, 30 points at halftime to the Wolves. Congrats to the Thunder. They're going to the finals. There's also a sponsor in this video. Also, that whole this series becoming very interesting thing. Well, it was interesting for Game 4. If I had to have one specific thing to remember from this series, it's probably J-Dub in Game 4. Because just the plays where he's like being really physical, going to Dante or Ant or Terrence Shannon or getting tough threes over Randall or sometimes getting open threes where I'm like, how did he get this open? But still, all season, the questions, if there were questions with this OKC team, as they were fantastic defensively, even with Chet missing games, the whole thing was, will J-Dub be the number 2 guy? Can Chet score enough? They definitely did in this series, while also, yes, the defense being as elite as it is, as SGA continues to just be unguardable outside of that one game pretty much. And, man, you talk about, like, it's such a cheat code, and it's such an accomplishment to do this while Chet and J-Dub are still on their rookie contracts. Now, they're both extension eligible this offseason, and so we'll see. We'll have that conversation when it's time to have that convo. But just the luxury it gave them with making moves, like signing iHeart. And I understand iHeart's minutes have been up and down this series, but especially throughout the season when Chet was out and they still had iHeart, like that was super valuable stuff. Or also like making the Caruso-Giddey trade. I understand neither Caruso or Giddey are super high salary guys right now, although Giddey's contract will be a thing this offseason. But we know that with the new CBA, any type of moves that you make, if you're up there enough, like past first apron, second apron, etc., it gets very hard to do anything. This is, of course, the big conversation with my Celtics right now. And so through drafting amazingly well, and of course there was the SGA-PG trade, we don't have to rehash that, nailing the Case and Wallace pick, and also if you want to go back far enough now, signing Lou Dort after he wasn't drafted way back in 2019, while still having all of these first-round picks over however many seasons it is, let's just say none of us will be surprised to see them in the finals again. Now, with that said, soon here, Chet and J-Dub will be extension eligible, and SGA is going to have an extension in a couple seasons. Lou Dort's got a team option after like a year from now or whatever it is, and so there will be some financial decisions that'll have to be made here, but these are all really good players. Before we talk about some more stuff, this video is sponsored by SeatGeek. If I really wanted to go to an Eastern Conference game, my best bet would be hoping the Knicks force a Game 6 back in Indiana, because the MSG prices are crazy. With that said, both of those environments are going to be insane the rest of this series, like it will be for the rest of the NBA playoffs, and if I wanted to go to any NBA playoff game or concert or music festival or many things, then I would use SeatGeek as I have in the past, and it's always been a good time, and you can use my code FunkyDiabetic10 for 10% off your next order at SeatGeek, and that is whether you are a new customer or not. SeatGeek rates deals on a scale of 1 to 10. Look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. No matter how many times you've used SeatGeek in the past, you can use my code that you can find in the pinned comment as well as the description of this video. One more time, FunkyDiabetic10, 10% off your next order. No matter how many times you've used it in the past, good stuff. Who have fantastic chemistry and the whole thing. Like it really is just kind of a dream sequence of events to building a team, right? You get the obscene amount of draft picks and the best player in the PG-SGA trade, all the draft stuff I just said. It's crazy just thinking about the reaction to the PG trade in the moment and now where it is now. It's just wild stuff. You just never know with this. Anyway, congrats to OKC. I do want to talk about the Wolves for a bit here, and obviously we'll be talking about the Thunder more. They're going to be in the finals. June 5th, the finals begin, which means if the Pacers end up winning Game 5 against the Knicks, I don't know what I'm going to do for like a week, but we'll see. Anyway, on to the Wolves. So, second straight conference finals loss. One with Cat, one with Randall and Dante. I don't want to go overboard, okay? Getting here in this very tough Western Conference. Obviously, they got lucky with Steph getting hurt. I picked them to win that series anyway. We'll never know what it would have actually looked like. But with OKC being the line that you have to meet now, and how to deal with this defense, let alone if you have a chance against SGA and J-Dub and Chet are going to keep getting better, but just dealing with this defense. I mean, you start with Ant, where it does feel like there's another level that Ant has to get to. And to be clear, look, they were loading up on him like crazy this series. He still had a couple of pop-off games, made a lot of right passes in the last one, but I also thought it was a little too easy for OKC to get the ball out of his hands. They also scored 1 million points anyway, but whatever. Besides becoming the better three-point shooter he did this season, I do think another level of like getting defenders on his back off of screen actions or snaking screen actions like SGA and J-Dub are doing to Gobert throughout this series. becoming a better mid-range shooter, perhaps developing a post game, although imagining him posting up versus this OKC team with Lou Dort crashing into him with his back to the basket, like, yeah, that would have been a lot to deal with, but it just feels like Ant needs to master all of these things. Not to say he never does any of these things now, but, I mean, OKC's the line, you got to get there. I mean, you think about the way honestly, Jokic might be the one guy who could actually like get into the middle of the OKC defense and make enough plays for himself and his team. A lot of that because he can do it out of the post and he can also do it from like the top of the key, right? Like giving yourself as many options as possible against this OKC defense. You get what I'm saying. And even then they still had times where they bothered Jokic. As far as the rest of the Wolves, I mean, there are going to be certain things just kind of baked into this team where, again, they're really good, but Gobert offensively in the playoffs, defenses are not exactly scared of him, right? And sure, if it's not for Rudy, they are definitely not the 6th best defensive team in the regular season. And again, there's certainly worse options than losing in the conference finals. But yeah, there's that. With Conley, for as much as Conley can still organize their offense, but he's going to be 38. I don't think they have anybody else in the roster who can really step into that role. Like, sure, you can always give Ant more ball handling duty or similar thing with Dante, but these guys are not point guards, right? You do have Dillingham, who basically was put to the side by Chris Finch this season. I think their hope was he could step in and be the spark plug as a scorer. Let's see if it happens in year 2. And then you got Jaden and Randall, where, listen, Randall was awesome for these playoffs until he ran into OKC. 2 really bad games, 3 much better ones, although tonight he really got it going in this third quarter when they've already been down by 30 points. It's just with Randall, the way he scores off of tough shots and really, really physical drives and just having to overwhelm defenders physically, with the way OKC swarms and with the amount of guys they have who can guard up, it's just tough to do it every game, man. And then Jaden, Nikhil, Dante, Nas, all good players, all can pop off any 1 game or 2 games or whatever, but again, with this OKC defense, it's just tough, man, and you're going to be dealing with them for a long time here. Now, looking at the rest of the West, if the Lakers can fill out the proper roster around Luka over the next whatever seasons, the Spurs are going to be a force around Wemby in probably not too much time. The Rockets might trade for Giannis. The Nuggets are going to be right here next season. The Warriors are going to think, well, if we can just get a little more juice, this Steph, Jimmy team, clearly there's a sample size of us being great, even if it's not going to last super duper long. The West is tough. It's going to keep on being tough, and also they've dealt a good amount of their picks. So we'll see with them, but yeah, congrats OKC, man.